Most people are not prepared for what's about to happen, so I encourage you to stay around. We're going to have a chat about the coming future and what God has to say. Open up your Bibles to Revelation 6:6. Oh shoot, we're one number off of the mark of the beast. Crazy. But this is going to sum up the world for us that we need to not forget about as believers. The world, let it burn. But as believers, be smart. Be smart. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil or the wine. Now that's the important part right there. A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. I don't know how many people watched what happened yesterday with the Federal Reserve when they came out and had their speech, but there was a couple of emphasis on some key points. Jerome Powell came out, and this is just pre-programming, pre-prediction. That's not really future telling at all, because they're just letting you know what's going to happen. That the Fed is worried. The Fed is worried about one thing in particular that we need to be mindful of. That's going to be happening to America, and that key thing is inflation and tariffs. That's disgusting. All right. Is inflation and tariffs. How does this affect us? And why are people not ready and prepared? Well, if we listen to what the Fed had to say, they did say that inflation, they wanted to bring down to 2% over time. And that right now in this meeting, inflation is right around 2.8%. Which is good, and there's no signals to lower it. Oh, come on, guys. Y'all crazy. And there's no signal to lower it. So that means it's not going to get lowered, at least not right now. The market has predicted, though, that they are going to lower the interest rate of the Federal Reserve from 4% at least 2 times this coming year. So how does this affect Christians? Well, it comes back down to tariffs as well. The Federal Reserve is worried about the tariffs that are about to take place, the tariffs that have happened and the ones that are about to take place. Tariffs always affect the citizen in the country where the tariffs are there. So when we give tariffs to another country, the other country said okay, and then just marks prices up and delivers it to us. Now, if we start producing things, then it doesn't really matter, because we're not relying on buying things from other countries and places. But that takes a while. You can't just open up shop overnight. But interest rates, that's interesting. That's interesting, because it has been high, and interest rate is just a tax. Is just a form of taxation, and a very, very nefarious one. Interest, or inflation, I should say, not interest rate, but inflation is artificial taxation. It's so ridiculous. It is absolutely so ridiculous. So it's going to affect us on our buying power, our leverage in the market, and how we stay free. Remember, God does say, give Caesar what is Caesar's and give God what is God's. You know, whose face is on that penny or on that denarius. And it's Caesar. And so Jesus says, give God what is God's and Caesar what is Caesar's. And that's very important to remember, is if the government needs something, then give it to them. But at what point do we play along? Because God also does say, come out of her, be set apart, be a peculiar people, a peculiar treasure unto the Lord. So I enjoy being peculiar. I enjoy treasure to the Lord. So looking at the future and what is going to happen, the biggest thing that Christians need to do, and this is starting to make sense, because something inside of me said it's time to go into squirrel mode. Squirrel mode, hardcore, is to stack your money. Stack your money. Don't get into new debt right now. Don't buy anything, crazy. Just get your necessities, but save, because the housing market will crash. The whole market will crash. This is exactly the same thing, pretty much one for one, that happened in 2008. And everything will crash eventually. America will not be the top of its game forever. So be mindful of that, and just remember that right now it's time to save. It's time to buy precious metals if you can buy any type of amount of precious metals, and just be mindful of that. But anyways, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and God bless.